Josh, you're right. This is, at least among evangelical Protestant Bible scholars, one of the most debated and controversial issues out there. And for me, it kind of anecdotally illustrates what Jeff was talking about earlier, about how when science comes up with new insight, to me as a Bible scholar, I have to ask the question, is this compatible with the Bible? Have I been reading the Bible correctly? Is there room for this idea in Genesis 2? And again, not letting science dictate what the Bible says, but because I do think the Galileo moment is instructive, because I think the church largely had a kind of knee-jerk reaction before going back to the Bible and asking the question, well, does the Bible really teach that the earth is the center of the solar system? And so when I heard this about from my scientific colleagues, as an Old Testament scholar, it drove me back to the text. And as you've already heard me say, I read Genesis 1 and 2, understanding that it has a lot of figurative depiction there. And so Adam, whose name means human being, that's not to say that it's not also used as a personal name in Genesis 1 and 2. I think it's telling us a lot of important things about who we are as humans, how we relate to God. And Genesis 3 tells us a lot about our original nature and why we're in the predicament that we're in. It's not because God created us that way. It's because human beings have chosen to rebel against him. I do think my own reading of Genesis 1 and 2, there's room for, but again, I'm not a scientist. If, a week from now everybody says evolution is wrong and there was a single couple, it wouldn't change my reading of Genesis 1 and 2. There would still be that room there because, as I said, the Bible intends to teach us certain things, and we shouldn't press it in areas that it's not intending to teach us. Actually, Genesis 1 and 2, as you were intimating, isn't the most difficult part of this question. It's really Romans 5, which makes this analogy between Adam and Christ. And as I've had people react against some things I've said about Adam, they point to Romans 5 and make the inference, well, if Adam's not historical, then Jesus isn't historical, as if when you make an analogy, you have to have two historical figures. It's a little bit different, but when I come home from a hard day and say to Alice, I've been tilting at windmills all day, I'm making an analogy between myself and Don Quixote, who is a literary figure. Now, you can't say because Don Quixote's a literary figure, I'm not a historical figure. The analogy still works. That said, there's still a lot of difficult exegetical work and theological work to be done on this question.
For more information about the Veritas Forum, including additional recordings and a calendar of upcoming events, please visit our website at veritas.org.